Welcome to CLIC Connect. I'm your host, Craig Sullivan. We've got an industry leader joining us today, first time on the show, and we'll bring him out in just a second. But I do want to thank our good friends at Red Roof Franchising for making the show possible. Give Matt Hostetler a call. He'd love to hear from you and talk to you about the Red Roof hotels. You know, they've got a soft brand. They've got their extended stay. They've got their world famous economy brands. Matt would really like to talk to you and get you dialed in with part of his franchise team and see if they can help you. So with no further ado, I would like to welcome Tony from Cost Segregation Services, LLC. And we are going to have a conversation on hotels, cost segregation, exchanges, Green Zip. How many of you know what Green Zip is? And how about Section 179D as in David? So without any further ado, Tony, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Craig, I'm doing fine. You were afraid of that last name, huh?
I was. I wasn't working well when I have to do a second cold start. It's not working right.
So Tony Bonifacic.
Bonifacic.
Yeah, that's very good. Most people destroy it.
I'll bet they do.
Anyway, I'll let you start things off and tell me which way to go. And I'm happy to bring some fabulous, like you mentioned, Who Knows Green Zip, fabulous product. We'll talk about that in a little bit too.
Perfect. Well, let's start off, Tony. Would you tell the audience about yourself and your company, please?
Sure. Yeah, I going back to college days, I went to Xavier up in Cincinnati. Went to work at a small retail outfit for a couple of years, handled 6 sets of books. I was an accountant. Then I picked up a job at International Paper and moved around with them. I was a plant accountant in Chicago, was a controller in Detroit, was a controller in Spring Hill, Louisiana. And then along about 1980, they convinced me to go to New York for the big bucks, but they didn't tell me about the 17% city tax and everything else. So I wound up saying, I'm tired of this. We moved down to New Orleans. And I've been here since. So it's 44 years. I had a company that we closed down about 1.5 years ago because Cost Seg, just all my salespeople started selling Cost Seg because it was such a great product. Even though my product was great, they all gravitated. So that's a little bit about me. I've got 3 great kids. I've been married for 53 years, and that's the personal stuff.
Congratulations. That's quite an accomplishment. I never made it that far. So, but that's great. And you've got the world's best beignets in your area.
There's no joke about that. Yeah. And we're going to have some this weekend. We got Jazz Fest here, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah. Did you go to a HoaCon while it was there?
That was wonderful. I mean, they had so many guys. I think we had about 6,000 people. We had a TV screen set up showing, we highlighted Green Zip tape. I mean, cost segregation, a lot of the guys know about, but the Green Zip tape is pretty special. And we're, as a matter of fact, we're still trying to get to all the leads. Nice. So a lot of interest.
You opened the door, so let's walk through it. And would you explain to the audience, please, what Green Zip is? Because I think it's a tool that everybody should be knowledgeable about and using at this point.
Well, let me reverse that, because Green Zip sits on top of cost segregation. Okay. Cost segregation is going to wind up generating about 5 to 8% return on your money. So you can expect, well, anywhere from $50,000, $60,000 to $100,000 for every $1 million of building value. Green Zip adds another 5 to 10%. So you can get as much as 18%. I'll get rid of this phone. Figures. Shut that thing. So you can get as much as 18%. If you throw in 179D, you can get as much as 20% of your building back in 5 years if you do not wind up having the Trump 100% bonus. That's what you get over 5 years. If he comes back with the bonus, which we anticipate that he's going to, that's 100% right off the first year. It's $10 million building, and you wind up with an $8 million cost at the end of the year after your taxes. It's great.
How does Green Zip tie into the cost segregation? And then we'll touch on 79D.
Yeah, well, it works on, it's basically putting cost seg on steroids. If you know about cost seg, it basically pulls the money out of your building. We separate the building into its parts and pieces. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you can see this, but I did an article and I used McDonald's burger. To McDonald's, That's a burger to most people. But to us, it's 2 all beef patty, special sauce, you name it, right? Because we break it down into pieces. And when you're using cost segregation, you got your cabinetry, you got your trim, you got your carpets, you got your flooring, you got all sorts of about 150 to 250 items that we filter through. And one of my salespeople, Kathy Ferguson, that we call her the cash flow queen, she will basically say, if you take a building, turn it upside down and shake it, everything that falls out is pretty much cost segregatable. So that means booths and, like I said, all the other things, counters in a restaurant, stuff like that. You're on mute, I think.
No, I'm here.
Okay, you're just quiet. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I mean, copper and steel, wood, all of it counts. So
that's part of structure. That's what we're separating. We're separating brick and mortar from everything that's basically movable. So we expect to get a return of about 10 to 20 to 1 on cost segregation. And that's what we've been doing for years. If you understood what was going on before, you had 5, 7, and 15-year properties. Not a whole lot of 7, but 5-year property was the big chunk of cost segregation. And that meant before 2017, you could write off 20% of that value for each item. Then you go to the 15-year property, like the flag poles, the landscaping, things like that, lights, parking lot. That was 15 years. So you got 20% on one hand, very little 7, I mean, bother with that. And on the 15, you got 7% versus 2.5%. Because what a CPA typically does, he says, okay, here's $1 million building divided by 39. Okay, or 40. So it's $25,000 a year. But we get 20 to 40% of a building can be accelerated. And that means you get your money over 5 years instead of the typical 39 years, 2.5%. The 2017 law moved that to 100%. And it stayed that way until the beginning of 22. And then it's gone down to 80%, 60%, 40%. And it's going to be wiped out in 26, except we think it's coming back 100%. It's going to be permanent. That means everything that we find, you write off the first year. It's a big cash flow benefit.
I love it. Your owners have got to love that as well. And hopefully they're using that strategy. And then Green Zip just amplifies that up. And
yeah, without a doubt. So what we're talking about basically is wall to wall. What we find that's movable, that's cost seg. Green Zip, because now you put the tape on the wall. There's no pre-mudding. It's tacky. This is a Green Zip product, but it's tacky. So you put it up on the wall and it sticks. Yeah. So you don't have to put that first layer of mud. You mud it. It's just like any other drywall tape, except this is a Cadillac, and we give it away for free. We license the building. So what happens when this is on there? You mud over it, you paint over it, you wallpaper over it. If you have to move it, all you do is reach down. There's a tab we leave at the bottom. You zip it up, and everything comes off the wall. That's it. It really is Green Zip. So the mud is released, the paper, the paint, you name it, and then you back off the screws, and you pull off the drywall. You lay it down, and you can use it again. Now, as an example, Chevron did an 88-story building. About 3 or 4 years later, they repurposed the top 18 floors. So they took all the walls down, they stacked them up, moved everything, all the metal joint, framework, and then they put it back up the way they wanted it. So there's a couple good benefits to that. Number one, that it doesn't go to the landfill. And I don't know if you know, but the United States is the last person or the last country that accepts drywall waste. Canada, up until a couple of years ago, shipped it to the United States, and they put it in places like Arizona and New Mexico because of the dry climate. Because when it's in a landfill, it creates hydrogen sulfide gas, which is poisonous.
Yeah.
So we would take it. Okay, now that's stopped with Canada. So anyway, it doesn't go to landfill. It means you're not driving it back and forth. You're not running it down the elevators, etc. Number two, it's cheaper. You're using the same drywall. Number three, which is the big one, because you can take it from here and move it to here, just like you can take a booth or a counter and move it from here to there. It's now movable property, and it's a 5-year life versus 39. So instead of wall to wall, now we're wall to wall, floor to ceiling. Yeah. Everything that is on a non-load bearing wall or around an elevator. So we do that. Right now we're guaranteeing for most buildings, whether it's a hotel, whether it's a senior living, whether it's a dormitory, $30 per square foot savings, guaranteed. We're going to actually guarantee that money.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And it's a great building tool. I mean, yeah, if you don't have to pay to have all that removed and transported someplace and off gas and deposited, whether it's Arizona or someplace else, reusable is great. I love that idea.
Yeah, and like I said, that's a nice feature. There's labor savings also. As a matter of fact, I got a video that I did of the guys putting up drywall. It takes about 16 seconds per panel to tape, mud, and move on. That's fast.
That is really fast.
So this is a patented product, as is our zip stick, which you can just take and you just peel it down with a little pressure and it puts it on the wall. So it saves money. It does. There's so many good things about it. But yeah, the larger the product. As a matter of fact, we're working on some projects right now. We haven't landed them yet. $5 billion casino in Las Vegas and a $900 million casino in Chicago. I just finished a 9-story apartment building, and we saved the guy about $3.5 million for a couple $100,000, no, for $90,000, I think it was. So it's a pretty good deal.
Gotta love that. Yeah, absolutely. So, Tony, tell us what is Section 179D?
Section 179D encompasses the building envelope. It's an energy efficiency benefit. It's a deduction it's not a credit, it's a deduction. So if you figure you're changing something on the roof, putting more insulation, that's a deductible expense. If your lighting meets certain criteria, that's going to qualify. The hot water systems. So those are the basic things, and I'm skipping one all of a sudden, leaving my mind. And yeah, the envelope, the lighting, HVAC. Yeah. So the funny thing about this is it's our government. Typically, we're measuring the efficiency of all these different items against 2007 standards. All right. So understand that in 2007 we didn't even have LED lighting. Okay. Yeah. So if you're building a new building, there's no doubt you're going to have 50% efficiency over what happened in 2007. And you get from this year on, it's going to be $1 per square foot. Up till it used to be $1.80, they dropped it. And right now there's actually a window. If you built something that started before 12/31 of 22 and it finished in after 1/31 of 23, you get $5 per square foot as a credit. So, and you can only use it up to the amount that you spent. So if you got $1 million deduction and you only spend 500,000, you get the 500,000. But that's sort of a loophole. And the only reason is that because the new standards require to get that $5, you have a prevailing wage. So you find out what the wages are, and you have to have an apprenticeship program. About 12 or 13% of your employees have to be apprentices. But going forward, you need those two things, right? If you had that window, you got $5 if you're 22 and 23. So it's a pretty exciting product.
I love that idea, and I've been saying this for months now. I mean, skilled labor on the construction front is evaporating, and if you're bringing in apprentices to get trained and move from one project to another, and then there's skilled labor at that point, that's a boon for everybody. I mean, at some point in time, I mean, every state in the union's been affected by some sort of natural disaster. We've got a lot of skilled labor that, left California, went to Florida, and Texas and various other states, and the cost of living is substantially different there. So, when we have to import crews to do the renovations on the hotels and all of that, it adds up quickly.
Well, let me say this: the green cards, they rebuilt New Orleans. You're in a room with all new walls. I shouldn't say new, since Katrina is almost 20 years old now, but we were flooded out. And without the immigrants coming in, we would have been in some deep doo-doo, to say the least.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
But as far as the company's changed a little bit. I should say a lot of it. The original owner, you talked about the company earlier, he started because he worked with one of the attorneys who won the Hospital Corporation of America versus the IRS. They owed $800 million. Okay. That's what they owed. And the IRS, they used a precedent. Walgreens had, said, hey, well, this rug isn't going to last 39 years. Why do we have to depreciate over 39 years? So that's the whole basis that we got to a more realistic value of those products. Anyway, Jim came back. He started knocking on doors. He say, tell him about what he was doing, and they'd go back and do the study. Well, he built it into a great company. We were just acquired by an equity firm last year. And man, we've added a bunch of engineers, a bunch of analysts. Things are so much speedier and faster, and we can do things cheaper for our clients too. But we're not the Walmart of cost segregation.
No,
you get value for your money. So.
Yeah, and you do. I mean, cost segregation is a powerful tool, and if you're not using it, you should be. It's something you always need. Now, you're also doing exchanges, and everybody's pretty up to speed on a 1031 exchange. But with these national disasters, you've got an opportunity to 1033 exchange, which I don't think people understand. There's a different time frame involved and a few other things. What are you seeing there?
Well, as you know, the 1031 just allows you to push forward your capital gains. You don't have to pay taxes. And there's a certain time period between when you can find the property and when you have to acquire it. And we don't actually do those. That's done by the CPA. It's a pretty easy process. But the 1033 exchange, the basic difference, I think, is that it extends the time period for them to go ahead and do these filings, find their properties, purchase the properties, and complete the process. So 1031, 1033, and again, I'm not the expert on that. I'm not going to BS you, but I know the timing is the main factor.
Here we go. All right, my friend, it's time for the lightning round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Producer Danny's going to put 2 minutes on the clock starting now. Favorite sport?
Football.
Cable or streaming?
They're both confusing, but I'll stream.
Interest rates?
Too high, but I don't need them anymore, so that's good.
There you go. Cost segregation?
Probably the best gift to commercial building owners in the history of taxation.
Social media?
Not a big fan. I got a TikTok crazy son, promotes his restaurant on it all the time. And I hate to see my kids bending over or seeing people in the airport like they're scrunched up. No, not a big fan.
Okay. Aisle or window?
Aisle.
Favorite airline?
Favorite what?
Airline.
I don't get to take it enough, but Southwest is a pretty cool airline.
There you go. Rewards points?
Yeah, I use Bank of America. I switched. Of course, my another son is a Merrill Lyncher, and you get 20% of your points back when you use your points with B of A.
There we go. Favorite restaurant in your city?
Oh, GW Fins, man. If you can't miss it. The best seafood, the best service. It's awesome.
Love it. You did that with 35 seconds left. Congratulations. You don't win anything, but
I should tell you about my son's restaurants then. No.
Yeah, you might have to answer to him on that. So, Tony, what one thing would you like our audience to know about you and your services?
Well, find out. Don't make decisions, off the cuff. We give a free analysis, whether it's green zip, whether it's 179, whether it's cost segregation. We'll tell you what you're going to get. And like I said, with the green zip, we now guarantee that. But we've changed. We had a lot of companies that say, oh, well, we're going to get $1 million back for you. And all of a sudden they do the study. They can't get anything more than we do. The building is the building. What comes out in the wash comes out in the wash. So
right.
We've done to combat that, because we are always conservative. We give a range. Say, this is our low end, this is our high end. And about 25% of the time, we still go over the high end. We always went over because we're always so low. So that's find out. That's all you got to do is get the facts. And right. If you're smart, you're going to go with it.
Wonderful. Tony, I appreciate you being here today. We'll have you back on the show soon. And if you want to contribute an article for the CLIC blog, I invite you to write it as long as or short as you want. Have your contact information on there. We'll post it on our blog. How can people get a hold of you?
Tell me which one you want. You want one on Green Zip or you want one on COSEG? I got them both.
Both. Do both.
All right. Will do.
How can people get a hold of you, Tony?
1-800-344-7671. Or they can go to gztape.com, or my site with the company is mq.csssistudy.com.
Perfect. And they can reach out to you on LinkedIn as well. So
like I met you, and it's a good deal.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good day, Craig.
What a great show. Give Tony a call. He's got lots of great information. You're going to love, this Green Zip product that he's got. You're absolutely going to find that essential. So give him a call. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to thank our good friends over at Red Roof Franchising again. Give Matt Hostetler a call. Let him know that that producer Danny and I sent you. They'd love to talk to you about their soft brand, their extended stay, and their world famous economy brand. So give Matthew a call. He'd love it. Also, remember, be kind, share your knowledge, and also go be amazing.